All right, welcome everybody. Thanks so much for signing online, for taking the time to attend our fundraising clinic. My name is Ashley. I am a manager with Team for Kids. I have been with Team for Kids since on and off since 2016. And this will be my 5th or 6th marathon season working here, which means I've had 5 or 6 years to really learn a lot of great fundraising tips, tricks, things that we are happy to tell you. I'd like to pass the baton, so to speak, to Jeremy, who's going to introduce herself.
Hi guys, my name's Jeremy. I'm the director of the Team for Kids program. I've been with New York Roadrunners for a little over 9 years. 9th marathon season, only 8th marathon to happen. We all remember 2020. So looking forward to it. So excited to have you all here. Would like to have Irene Chen introduce herself as well, and then we'll get going on the deck.
Hi everyone, so my name's Irene and I've also been with Team for Kids for a little over a year now, and it'll be my 2nd marathon season, and I'm the fundraising coordinator. So anytime you have a fundraising consultation request, I'll be the one to help answer your request. So yeah, we can get started. Okay. So this is our fundraising clinic. Go to our next slide. So why Team for Kids? There's so many reasons, but your generous support really helps fund our community and programs. And if we want to take a look at what Rising New York Roadrunners is, it's basically a free running-based youth program that provides physical activity resources in New York City and all across the nation. So it's not just limited to New York. Your fundraising really helps to support free programming for educators to build youth movement frameworks, and we help to serve schools and communities in need. And we also provide tons of opportunities for students all over the country to run despite budget and community resource constraints. So we really want to target low-income neighborhoods and those that really need it. But in essence, the programming that we're talking about provides positive team-based approaches that foster lifelong healthy attitudes towards activity that will last into adulthood. And we really put a lot of emphasis on physical literacy and long-term athlete development. And we really prioritize confidence and competence over performance. And that's just a little bit about Rising New York Roadrunners. You might have seen, if you've run with us for other smaller races, we often have a shorter youth race part of these events, and you might have seen that at other races. We also help to support Rising New York Roadrunners Youth Ambassadors, which is a free 6-week public speaking program that really centers on running participation for youth to learn and showcase presentation and communication skills. So they really learn how to write speeches and deliver them. You'll see a youth ambassador at our TFK breakfast as well, and you'll really get to see their skills shine there. Your funding also goes to support NYR's Open Run. So that's just free weekly community-led runs in parks all around the 5 boroughs of New York City, as well as Jersey City, for runners of all ages, abilities, and experience levels. With Run for the Future, this is a 7-week program that introduces young women in grades 11 and 12 to running, and we really provide lessons in self-care and wellness as a very holistic approach to fitness. And we have a bunch of alumni that still come back and run with us. We also support our youth wheelchair training program. And what that is essentially youth that are ages 6 to 21 with physical disabilities. And we help them train and compete in road and track events. And the program really provides a ton of training sessions as well as all adaptive sports equipment. So all of that is free of charge, and we provide all the equipment that they need. And lastly, NYR Striders, which is a free walking and fitness program for older adults that are looking to get active, stay fit, and improve their health with the goal of leading a more active lifestyle. So this program really connects participants to not just runners all alike, but also it helps them prove that athletes have no age limits.
Yeah, and to reiterate everything Irene said, you probably were like, whoa, this is a lot on one slide. And it is, and a lot of people don't realize that we New York Roadrunners does all of this. People know us for our races. They know us for the marathon. They don't necessarily know us for all of the youth and community programs that we do. And what you may not realize is none of these programs happen without Team for Kids. Team for Kids is the main driver. We fund over 80% of our youth programs. We get kids running. We get families running. We help older adults stay active and stay socially engaged and interact with people. Running gives us all so much, and it gives us a lot more than fitness as well. and I have a toddler crawling on me now. But your dollars go so far. So just as we head into this webinar, we want to start with a moment of gratitude for you and your fundraising, and just thank you for choosing us and the fund you'll be raising us. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's totally true. And don't worry, I spewed a ton of information at you guys, but we'll be sharing the deck later, and the deck that I'll be sharing later will be more comprehensive and it'll go a little more into detail on all of these programs. And it'll include links to all the programs for you to read up on. But really, it's so important to understand where the funds that you are raising goes towards, so that when you're sharing this information with your donors and encouraging them to donate to Team for Kids, you understand where the money is going. Ashley, if you want to introduce Drew.
I would be more than happy to introduce Drew. So, one of our esteemed runners who has predated myself and Jeremy's involvement with Team for Kids. Drew has been running with Team for Kids and fundraising with Team for Kids since 2007, and he has fundraised over $1 million since he's joined. He has been helping us every year with this fundraising clinic by not only fundraising with us, but sharing his best methodology for getting this fundraising done, meeting your goal and going beyond it. And we really appreciate Drew's efforts every year to continue to run with us. And Drew has just been an integral part of what makes TFK so special. So with that being said, I would love to introduce Drew if you want to say a little bit about yourself, and then we can talk about your 6-step plan in the next slide. So
okay, sure. So as Ashley and Jeremy said, I've been running with Team for Kids since 2007. This is going to be my 37th marathon. I think I've done about 25 New York cities, 3 Bostons, including the year of the bombing, New Jersey once, Marine Corps once, and Long Island several times. So I did my first marathon in 1987, which was on my 30th birthday. And then I took a break between 99 and 2007. In 2007, it was on my 50th birthday, and my wife asked me, what do I want for my 50th birthday? And I said, the only thing I want is to run the marathon. And I wanted to do it for cause, and I found Team for Kids, and I instantly connected because I was one of these kids growing up in Brooklyn and the projects, Brooklyn, New York. And my mother gave me, fed me basically unhealthy foods, and I had a weight issue. And then I started running when I was about 13, 14 years old, and then was on the track team, the wrestling team, and the football team. So I can directly relate to how important it is to try and prevent childhood obesity. I worked at Montefiore Health System for 33 years, and the obesity rate in the Bronx was something like 63%. So I could see where Team for Kids can help prevent, and I think not enough emphasis in the country is focused on prevention, because most illnesses that cause the most money in healthcare are preventable. So my motto in my professional career was to get it right the first time, and that's what Team for Kids does. It focuses on kids and getting them healthy and trying to prevent childhood obesity. So that's how my career, my growing up, everything all jives together, and it makes me passionate about Team for Kids.
I love when Drew talks because he exudes Team for Kids. Like,
That's what I was gonna say.
I may be skipping ahead, but like, find your connection. Drew had running got him through his weight struggles as a kid. He worked in the medical profession. He believes in preventative healthcare, and he wants to give back. And when you start talking about why you're running with Team for Kids and making it personal to you, why it motivates you, and this is the cause you chose, that's gonna come through to your friends and family, and that's gonna help you ask for your donations. So just Drew is the absolute ultimate at this. So there you have it. Just do that.
Yeah. The thing that I was going to say next as I introduce the next slide is just to remember to keep what Drew said in mind and to keep what Irene said in mind about the programs. We're going to put a pin in it because we'll come back to it, because showing people your connection makes everything more genuine. It makes them want to donate more. So with that being said, I'd like to introduce Drew's 6-step plan. So we can follow these to success. Number 1, start off on the right foot. Don't worry, we'll be going through all of these. Number 2, make your ask. Number 3, find your supporters. Number 4, be multi-channel. I know that sounds very ooby-dooby. We will explain what that means. It is super simple. Number 5, create a unique hook, like Drew's background and how he grew up, and that's what connects him. And number 6, the most important thing, well, they're all really important, but thanking your donors is equally as important. One thing before I pass the virtual baton to Irene next that I want to mention for all of you calling in on our TCS New York City Marathon team, just to remember, just to keep in mind that the fundraising deadline is October 9th, 2024. Keep that in mind. You have a minimum of $3,000 and the fundraising deadline is October 9th, 2024. All right, Irene, I'm going to pass it along to you for step 1, starting off on the right foot.
Thank you, Ashley. So yeah, you really don't want to procrastinate. If you haven't already started fundraising, you really want to get the ball rolling now. And like we mentioned earlier, the first step is really just sharing your why, understanding your own connection to Team for Kids, and understanding why you're helping fundraise, whether it's your own personal story, any other anecdote that you have, or if you just why you believe in the cause that we support. Make sure your fundraising page has your personal story as well. This goes a long way when you're sharing that fundraising page link, and making sure that it's not some generic template that's on your page really helps your donors figure out how much they want to donate, and sometimes it helps boost a number as well. And start small. Don't be afraid to make your own donation towards your fundraising goal, and then just ask 3 friends to match it, right? Showing other people that you care about the cause as well helps other people care more too. You really want to also pace yourself. We're already in August, and helping yourself set up mini fundraising targets to structure a shorter, like smaller increments of deadlines for yourself helps to structure your own campaign. And update your friends and family on your progress so that they can see you making fundraising progress and they'll help you achieve it. It's much easier if you're like, oh, I really want to raise $500 this month, and you're like at 450 right now, to ask someone to help you donate the rest of the 50 that you're left with for this month is much easier than just being like, oh, I still have 2,500 to go. But yeah, make sure you're planning these targets realistically to reflect how much time you can devote to fundraising in a week or a month. And Drew, feel free to jump in anytime with any.
Yeah, I was actually going to say, Drew, for step 2, find your supporters. This is, we made this slide because of what Drew taught us. Developing your list of possible donors and asking everyone. Drew, I would love to pass the virtual baton. I'm going with a theme here, guys. Just bear with me. To really tell everyone about how you do this.
So since I've been doing it since 2007, I have a process that I follow, but from the very beginning, I contacted everybody that I know, that I had an email for, and I would personalize the email. And then, so I'd send out literally thousands of emails, and it would take a lot of time, but I would send out thousands of emails, and then a couple of weeks later, I would follow up. And then, and then I put it like, my primary source is emails. I haven't really had great luck with Facebook and LinkedIn, but I have had a little bit, but mainly emails, and being persistent and constant and following up. And so for those of you who have done it before, what I do is I prioritize. I have my Excel file and I sequence it high to low in terms of the amount, and I prioritize and go through the list and send emails in dollar value sequence from the highest donor to the lowest donor. And it takes time, but people, can directly relate to the cause, and especially my contacts being in healthcare, they understand how important prevention is. and they've seen I've been at this now for so long, and so I've never had a negative experience with a potential donor. If anything, they ignore it, but
That's right. The worst thing they can do is ignore you.
right.
And I want to call something out that Drew mentioned here, and is that he mentioned an Excel sheet. And I think someone who historically wasn't the most organized, having an Excel sheet, no matter what your level of personal organization is, will really help you to do kind of exactly what Drew said. To A, track, and B, figure out who your chunks of people are, who you can ask for more money, who can make the bigger ask to, and who, okay, you know what? If I want to use this different language for this group that I'm only asking for $10 donations with, then I know what group of people that is. If I want to make a different ask, what is that group of people? So having the organization, that is the number one thing that I remember, Drew, from when we used to do this just on an actual call, on a conference call, is having that Excel sheet, because that Excel sheet, like he mentioned, also allows them to follow back up with who has and who hasn't donated, right?
Right. Yeah, and then I do things like also I would, if I was at a golf outing, I would ask the person who's sponsoring the outing to do a raffle for Team for Kids, and I've raised, a couple $1,000 at the outing. So that's another good way to do it.
And we'll get to that in the creative ideas section. Don't worry, Drew.
Okay.
But Irene, the next step is step 3.
So the next step is, like we said, making your ask. The hardest thing that someone can say is just no, which is totally fine. There's so many other people who will happily support you, and you just won't know until you ask. You might think that your network is pretty small, but honestly, your network is as big as it's as large as the number of people that you ask. So really, you want to keep your message simple and clear. Be conscientious of who you're asking and how much you're asking for, especially depending on like how close to you they are or what their background might look like. And the more that you ask, the easier it gets. Truly, that's all it takes. Step 4. So we mentioned earlier being multi-channel. So being multi-channel just really means using multiple platforms to communicate. Drew mentioned how he hasn't had much luck on Facebook, but he has had more luck with email. Someone else in the chat said they've had more luck over text messaging. So now that you know what to ask and who to ask, really here's how to ask. And like Drew mentioned earlier, personalized asks tend to be much more effective. Although you might get some donations by sending a mass email, you're also more likely to get a response from like a direct and personal message. Move to the next slide. Yeah, so with social media, that's a very easy way to target friends and acquaintances, community members, other social connections, people that you might not really know that well. On social media, what you might want to do is issue a challenge. You can offer friends and family awards such as a funny thank you video, a poem, or a song, or you might want to even create a short promotional video to post to really gather a ton of donations from anyone who might just see the video. And you really want to post often. You want to thank your supporters and share not just your training progress, but also your fundraising progress regularly. One friend's generosity and your gratitude can easily inspire someone else to donate. And you never know if your friend who feels very recognized in their public thank you might donate again.
And I want to call out Alexa and Parker, who mentioned in the chat that social media, particularly Instagram stories, and sharing the ask on social media while sharing a picture or video of you running, that's also 2 other really, really great ways to show your journey and to while asking at the same time. You don't even necessarily have to do the ask at that time, but to show people the journey that you're on. Wear your TFK green, like let people see that you are visibly fundraising the Team for Kids. Which brings us to email and text.
Yeah. And of course, it might seem like a lot creating a personal message to everyone in your network. So you don't have to make it personal for every single person, but over email and text, it's much easier if you're targeting family, coworkers, or even closer friends, where you can add your own note and share your own connection to Team for Kids and also draw a connection to why they might be interested in helping Team for Kids. And you want to send a lot of follow-ups and updates. If people haven't responded to your donation request, but they told you that they're interested in donating, don't be afraid to follow up. 100% they might have just forgotten, and it means nothing more than just like sending them another text. It's not a bother. Don't be afraid to send a reminder with your link to donate and your update on your progress. Honestly, it's also really easy to add a QR code on your social media or like even in your email signature. If you want to even include a link there, it's so easy to have other friends like donate and just like have them click on the link that way.
Drew, how many times do you typically end up following up, and how many times are the most times that you followed up where someone was just like, oh, I forgot I was going to donate. Thank you so much for following up with me.
On the so on the big dollar donors, I will never stop following up.
That's
So
smart.
I could send, you know, I've done as many. There's one that was, you know, donating a lot of money, and I would follow up with her on text, and 5, 6 times. She always does. Excuse me. She always does it at the last minute. But so usually I follow up a few times
So
at,
what I'm sorry.
like 2 to 3 week intervals after I sent the original. And I'll say something like a gentle reminder to support me and the kids. And it works.
Yeah, I think for a lot of people, Drew, that's really helpful because following up can be a little bit intimidating because you're afraid to bother someone or afraid to pester someone. But if you're reaching out to someone about a cause that you're passionate about, and if they don't end up donating, that's fine. But if they're connecting to it, then they'll end up donating. So
Right.
don't feel bad about it, right?
Right. I mean, just today I had the CEO of a hospital nearby in Stamford made a donation. And this is someone I used to work with at Montefiore many years ago. And she said, you know, it's a great cause and I'm happy to support you.
Fantastic.
Yeah, and part of it is exactly what Drew said. I'm happy to support you. These are your friends. These are your coworkers. This is your family. Hopefully they want to support you. Hopefully they want to hear what you're doing and support you on this journey. So maybe you know, physical activity for kids isn't their #1 charitable giving cause, but maybe you as a loved one can push that cause to the top of their list in this endeavor. It's as much about you and people supporting you as it is about the cause. This is personal. You're out there putting yourself on the line. You're running this marathon. You're trying to raise this money. It's about you guys, and we thank you for that. So yeah, let them know what you're doing because they love you and they want to support you.
Yeah, and to that point, East Net didn't have luck on Facebook, but she had a good amount of donors through text messages and following up once a week. If someone is making the effort to text me, I'm gonna look at it. If you email me my personal inbox, that's where just things go to die. But if you text me, I'm gonna look at it. And if you're taking the time out of your day to text me something, I'm going to take a look. So great job, East Net, for continuing to do via text, which brings us to our next step of the multi-channel, personal asks. Irene, take it away.
Yep. So just beyond all the virtual asks, you can definitely ask in person, like Jeremy mentioned. You can use snail mail. You can pick up the phone and make a phone call. All of these are much closer ways to really target your best friends or immediate family. You know, personal handwritten note can go such a long way where you include a QR code for them to scan and they can donate easily online. You know, and like Ashley mentioned, an email can get missed so easily. So don't be scared to just call people around you, call your friends and your loved ones. They'll 1,000% agree if you're asking in person or if you're just, you know, actually having a conversation with them. It's so much harder to say no if you're having a conversation about it.
Yeah. And I do want to add, speaking of personal ask, a personal story that actually happened to me when someone was asking me for a fundraising donation. It was a good friend of mine from college. She had clearly chunked out her donors because she texted a bunch of us college friends on a group text. And I saw it. I was like, oh, this is actually a cause that she cares about, that I care about too. I'll donate. I forgot about it. It was fine. I think she may have followed up, but when I went and was looking on Instagram, I saw it on her stories. And when I saw on her stories, I remembered that I wanted to donate. And she was able to link her personal page through her Instagram story. And I went and I donated. And immediately after, she texted me back to thank me, which I know I'm getting ahead of myself. I know we have a slide that says thank you, but that was what really stuck out to me, was that A, it was multi-channel, but that she noticed right away and she said thank you. So if you get notifications, or if you check in when your donors donate, thank them, because it'll make them feel good to know that they're donating to something that you care about, and you're appreciative of it. We do have a question in, there we go. I was about to say, the first thing that we probably should have mentioned also is any questions at all that don't get answered here, any questions that don't have anything to do related to fundraising, please email us at teamforkids@myr.org.
Yeah, but for Willem's question, I think in that instance, if they're more concerned about organizations in their local area, that's when I would maybe pivot to talk about you. But and be like, well, do you want to support me in running a marathon? But also, we have international mentors. We have a group of, you know, over 100 runners who fundraise with us every single year. They're an absolute wealth of knowledge. We have a couple on the call tonight. We have fundraising office hours where you can talk to them more, and we can connect you directly with some of our international mentors, and they can tell you specifically their approach, because their donors are the same as your donors. They don't live here. This isn't a local cause, and it might not be near and dear to their house, or to their heart or their house, quite frankly. And then you can pivot into some of the more creative ideas. So, you know, bake sales, you can host a dinner party at your house and people make a donation. You can do a wine tasting at your house and people donate to come and join the party. Babysitting, dog walking. Kind of more providing some type of service or a party that they donate to attend, making it more about connecting with you and connecting with their friends and family in support of you running the marathon.
Perfect. Which brings us conveniently to our next slide, Irene.
Yep.
Creating a unique hook.
Yep. Be unique. You really want to pull your donors in when you're asking for donations. So when you're thinking about what you want to post on social media, or even an opener in all your text messages and emails, you can incorporate a tagline that'll for sure grab your donors' interest. You can utilize humor or get sentimental with your donors. By personalizing the tagline that you use to each donor as well, you're sure to reach your goal. So you can use birthdays, holidays, and other incentives like Jeremy mentioned, with like bake sales or like hosting parties at your place. With birthdays, it's so easy to just be like, oh, instead of giving me a gift this year, just donate, 5, 10, 20, 40 to my fundraising page. And if you keep updating your fundraising page and social media with the taglines that you're using and news about your training, donors will feel even more involved and they'll feel like they're genuinely a part of your marathon journey. And I don't know if Drew, you have any other creative ideas that you also want to talk about?
Like I said, I did the golf outing. My birthday is usually around the marathon. This year it's the day after, so I send out a last minute birthday blast email asking for donations for my birthday. And that usually generates a few $1,000s. And
if you don't have a birthday, you maybe have a half birthday in the next couple months coming up. So lean into that too.
Right. I mean, there was in 2000, the one thing I haven't used, and I got to think about it, is in 2018, it was going to be on my 55th birthday, and I ended up having lung surgery that year in September, so I couldn't run the marathon, but I ended up being a catcher instead, and I haven't used that at all. So I got to figure out because I see here you have Cancerversary. So, it was a crazy thing. I'm a vegan. I've been running the marathon since 1987, and I ended up getting a carcinoid in my lung. So, and I never smoked a cigarette.
So yeah, Jeremy's right. Your personal milestones, things that connect you. You were a catcher because you couldn't put the pictures of that up. Use those things that feel genuine to you, that you want to share with people to help you bring your donors in. Right, Drew?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Perfect.
1000%. Even if it's not a birthday coming up, get creative with every milestone. Every achievement is an achievement to be celebrated. Share that with your donors, and they'll for sure help you out. So step 6, we've talked a lot about what to communicate with your donors, but don't forget after that you get the donation, you really want to thank your donors. You want to show them that you appreciate them. And you can continue to ask other donors and be persistent. But many donors also won't donate just the first time that you ask. So don't be scared to keep asking. And when they do donate, don't forget to show recognition. um, by publicly showing your donors that you recognize their contributions. If you like just put an email blast or like if you post on your social media, thank you so and so, you really incentivize them to donate again, but also you're raising more awareness for your campaign each time you thank someone publicly too.
Okay, perfect. Uh, Drew, any tips about thanking your donors?
Well, I mean, I do it immediately. As soon as I see that email from Team for Kids, that I received a donation, I immediately forward that email to the donor and thank them immediately. I usually monitor it during the day.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Fantastic. Before we move to the Q&A, we have a quick little poll that we're going to ask you guys kindly to fill out because we really enjoy doing this fundraising clinic. We find it makes a real difference for the people that attend and the people that watch it. So we're hoping for some feedback so we can continue to make this fundraising clinic really useful for you guys. So I'm launching a poll now. If you guys can take some time to answer it, that'd be great. If you have any questions, please feel free to let us know either in the Q&A or come off of chat. Irene, do you have anything else before we go to the next slide?
Nope, we could just move on to the next slide. But yeah, just take a few minutes, fill out this little survey. It's super helpful for us to gather information about what really best helps you. But thank you all for attending our fundraising clinic. If you do have questions after this, of course, always feel free to email us at teamforkids@nyr.org or join my fundraising office hours on next Friday at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can register using the QR code that's put right there. And yeah, definitely come off mute if you would like to ask a question, or you can say it in the chat and we'll answer.
Great. Thanks, guys, for answering. It's still up, I believe.
Yeah.
Any questions in the meantime? And if you don't feel like asking a question publicly, which we understand, feel free to email us at teamforkids@nyr.org. It's not just some random person somewhere in the middle of America that's answering these emails. It is myself, Irene, our other two colleagues, David and Lindsay. Jeremy every now and then hops in there too. And there's real people who have had real experience talking to Team for Kids runners, seeing what works for you guys, what doesn't work for you guys. We are here to help.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest takeaway is if you haven't started, the time is now. And if you have started, be persistent, keep going. I mean, literally, when someone asked me to quickly summarize Drew's strategy, it's ask everyone you know and don't stop asking until they donate. And that's kind of the secret sauce that has helped Drew raise over $1 million for Team for Kids. Persistence. Put up the pictures. Every post on social media, every picture, everything you do is a reminder. Oh, we got to turn on another show in a second. Persistence. He will be back here several more times until I do it. But every picture, every post, every ask is just a reminder to let people know what you're doing. So just put it out there. You'll be surprised what comes back to you.
Any questions? Anyone? Any tips that you guys didn't put in the chat that you think could be really helpful? Feel free to come off of mute and video and share it with us. We love that. I mean, I'm not going to name names, but Laura Castor, if you'd love to give us a tip as another esteemed mentor like Drew, we would love that. Not to put anyone on the spot. Laura might be answering the fundraising survey. She did, however, mention a very fantastic tip in the chat earlier up that she keeps a box of candy on her desk with a donation jar next to it. Sometimes you can do things as simple as that, in the words of another mentor of ours, Jean, every dollar counts. It's great to be able to have donors that can make large donations. It's really fantastic, but it's also really fantastic to get a lot of little donations. It depends on also where you live and what your network of people is like. If you have a network of people that can only give small donations, go big and go wide. If you have any questions about tips for how to reach out to your specific community, feel free to ask us. Another really, really fantastic resource, aside from the deck that we're going to be sharing, is also the Facebook group. The Facebook group has about 500 people in it. Probably about at least 70 of them are mentors. Our mentors are our experienced TFK alumni who have fundraised, who have run, who have participated with us for the TCS New York City Marathon specifically. They're experienced. There's also plenty of other TFK alumni who aren't mentors who just keep coming back to Team for Kids year after year and fundraise with us year after year. Feel free to put any questions you have. And I really think crowdsourcing is also a really great way to get those fundraising ideas as well. All right, let's see if we have anyone else. What are some examples of good email subject lines? Drew, do you have any off the top of your head?
I just put 2024 TCS Marathon for Team for Kids as the subject line.
Going simple.
Right.
Because if it's too long, no one's going to read it.
Yeah, I echo that. Ashley knows.
Jeremy hates it when I make them really long.
There's so many words. I just need you to get to the point. But yeah, and then don't email, social media, but text and in person. If I look at my phone right now, I have 0 unread text messages. If I look at my phone right now, there are thousands of unread emails. So multi-channel is the way to go for sure.
Something else I'd like to call out. So Irene made this beautiful slide here, and this QR code was easy and free to make on the internet. She took the Zoom link to register for our fundraising office hours in August, and she turned it into a QR code. You can turn things into your link into a QR code and save it in your camera roll on your phone. That way, if you're golfing, like Drew told us he golfed the other day, and if someone you're talking about it and a person actually seems to be interested in donating, you don't have to worry about typing in anything in their phone. You just open your phone up and open that QR code that's saved on your camera roll and just show it to them. Most people will have a smartphone and most people will be able to do that. That's a great way. We used to live in a world where, people used to have to carry around note cards or business cards. We have the digital world. Lean into it if it works for you. And if you have any questions about, just Google free QR code. There are hundreds, probably hundreds. There are a lot of websites that allow you to make free QR codes. It's the simplest way to literally have your fundraising page in your hand, in your pocket.
Yep, it's so easy to make a QR code beyond just even keeping in your camera roll, printing it out, putting it in your house when you invite friends over, or anytime you're having an event, or even just putting it on your desk. If you put a picture of yourself running next to a QR code, people are bound to ask, what is this? And if they scan the QR code, they see your fundraising page with actually updated bio and an actually updated photo of yourself running, they'll 100% be willing to donate.
That is a fantastic idea. I love the idea of having it somewhere in your home. If you're having a dinner party, if there are going to be people over, if you're having a block party, it's a great way to just have it there. You never know who's going to just walk by, and some people just like clicking on opening QR codes just because they're there. You never know. Any other questions? Thank you to the handful of you that filled out the fundraising survey. We really, really appreciate it.
Last call for questions. Again, we have fundraising office hours next week. So if try some stuff, report back. We'll take it from there, pick it up next week. The decks will be shared. The recording will be shared. Any questions after we hang up, just email teamforkids@nyrr.org. And we'll be seeing you sooner than you know, guys. November is coming, October is coming, and November is coming. Awesome. Okay, well then we'll wrap it up. Everyone have a good night, and we hope to hear from you soon.
Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thank you all for coming.